Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Orange Guidon, produced by Syracuse University's Office of Veteran Military Affairs, the best place for veterans. In these episodes, we'll bring you notable people from our military-connected community here on campus, leaders, people who have accomplished great things. And today, we have Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Coyne, Professor of Military Science and Senior Officer of our Army ROTC program here at Syracuse University. So, Matt, first of all, welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thanks, Charlie. I really appreciate the opportunity to come up and chat with you and be a part of this great series that you're putting together.
First off, Matt, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about, the history of Army ROTC program here and what makes it a little unique.
Obviously, Syracuse University has a tremendous connection to the military, and Army ROTC is a critical aspect of that, dating back to 1918 when the university hosted the Student Army Training Corps in support of the World War I efforts. About a year later, in 1919, that program transitioned into becoming the Army ROTC program that we still currently run today. So really, it's been continuously running here on campus ever since that time that it was stood up in really 1918 and transition in 1919. During some unique times in our nation's history, the Vietnam era, when a lot of ROTC programs were kicked off campus, and there was a lot of turmoil out there in our nation, Syracuse stood by with their principles of supporting the military and that community, and they never kicked the program off campus. So, the tagline of the Army's longest continuously serving Army ROTC program on a college campus obviously kind of dates back to that. I know some other programs might argue this and that about what that is, and I'm not going to get into that university debate, but that's kind of the history of what that program is. So really, what we do with our cadets is we try and tie them back to their lineage and history. There's a photo you'll see all around the university of the Student Army Training Corps sitting on the standing on the stairs of the Hall of Languages, the original building here at the university. So we take that photo every year with our cadets, and we do side by side with them to really tie them back to their lineage and their legacy that they're continuing on. So.
Absolutely, and definitely one of our more historical moments in Syracuse University history where Chancellor Tully actually allowed ROTC cadets to kind of speak their mind and speak up to save the program. And what makes a good candidate for ROTC and kind of a little bit the traditional pathway into becoming an ROTC cadet?
So I think one of the misconceptions out there is, here's the perfect candidate, and that doesn't exist, right? There's no specific model or hey, we're looking for everything that this individual has, and you have it or you don't. Really, we're looking for good folks who have character, right? Mm-hmm. We obviously want academically, SAL is the acronym we use: Scholastic, Athletic, and Leadership. So we want somebody of strong scholastic background and good academic performance, either in high school or leading into college, right? Somebody who's athletic in nature, be it involved in school sports, community sports, physical fitness in some sorts. And then somebody who exhibits some sort of leadership potential, be it stuff they've done in their school, in their community. Those are the three baselines we're looking for, but a lot of things we can continue to develop and grow. Your fitness obviously is a critical aspect of what we do in the Army, but we can work with that, right? I can't train character, right? So do you have good character? And that's really what we're looking for at the basis. As far as what's the traditional pathway, there's multiple pathways to become an ROTC cadet. The most traditional one is through what we call the National Scholarship process. When you're beginning your senior in high school, you can begin the application process. That's the most traditional pathway. However, you can still show up on campus and join ROTC your freshman and sophomore year. We can effectively take you up until the end of your sophomore year because we have different lateral entry programs. If you're on your campus as a sophomore, hey, I want to do this ROTC thing, we can send you to training that summer that will catch you up for the first 2 years. If you are enlisted in the New York or the National Guard or the Army Reserve or anything like that and have been to basic training, we can accept you and you can join our program as a junior. So there are some non-traditional paths, some lateral entry options, but coming out of high school is really the most traditional path of a cadet.
I chuckle whenever we talk about the physical training because I've seen your cadets out early in the morning, and I know you got the amazing, student number, the stack facility here to train during the winter time period. But it just blows my mind how early they are, especially for college students. It's an incredible group that you have, and looking at them. especially here at Syracuse University, can you tell me like what are some of the unique things that are exclusive here to Syracuse University, or maybe not exclusive, but the university does to help ROTC cadets and make their academic pursuits here more, feasible?
One of the things is the level of institutional support we get, and that comes down from the top. From a facilities perspective, you mentioned it, the STAC, or the Stalwart Tactical Athlete Center. As soldiers, we're training to be tactical athletes. Like, fitness is at the core of what we do. The university recognized that and recognized the need to provide cadets the space and ability to prepare themselves physically. About 4 years ago, the university invested in taking a warehouse and transitioning that into a fitness facility just for our cadets. So our cadets have access 7 days a week to work out there. We do organized PT 3 mornings a week early in the morning, but any other days during the week, cadets can get out there and train. Obviously, you've got the National Veteran Resource Center, which houses the RTC program. Tremendous office spaces for cadre, but also for cadets. Cadet lounges, study halls, classrooms where we can conduct our ROTC classes, a space where the cadets can do their own internal meetings or development sessions, and you name it. Offices like the Office of Veteran Success, really, they help with cadets developing and preparing for life after the university. So offices like that really provide those resources to prepare cadets. It's just the question that's always been asked from the university leadership is what else do the cadets need? What else can we do? They're never satisfied with we've done enough, right? Because all we're doing here is laying the foundation, right? So you've got to set that foundation, and then they're going to grow and excel in the Army.
I mean, you're making a great foundation. I know you've had, some of your top placing cadets in their summer programs in athletics. Moving kind of not really a step back, but and instead of just focusing on the support and everything else, what are some of the challenges that an ROTC cadet faces as opposed to the traditional peer student that they're in classrooms with, and what are some of the support programs that your cadre and the university provides to overcome that?
So I think you alluded to that a little earlier when you talked about I see them up early in the morning doing PT and running around. So they're trying to balance the demands of the academic life and the academic challenges here on campus, as well as the RTC requirements. 3 mornings a week, we're doing PT at 6:30 in the morning. Sometimes when we're doing our longer rucks, it's even earlier, and it's 4:30 in the morning. We're out there on Onondaga Lake rucking. Doesn't matter the temperature, we're out there, we're doing that. So the demands of the physical aspect, but there's also the leadership development. There's a military science class. There's a leadership lab where we're taking what they do in the classroom and we're putting into practical application, in field settings, tactical settings. They give up weekends to go up to Fort Drum to do our training exercises. So you're balancing that. Hey, academics is extremely important, and ROTC is what's developing you. And I tell the cadets, I said, one's not more important than the other. They go equally. If they don't graduate, I can't commission them. But if they don't do the Army training, I'm not preparing them to be commissioned officers in the university or in the United States Army. And you talk about what are some of the resources. Obviously, the academic support is tremendous around here with academic advisors and tutors and the professors' willingness to bend over backwards to support the students. But with RTC, the cadets come with an added layer of support. Everybody has an assigned cadre member based off of what year they are in the program. And that cadre member sits down with them at a minimum and counsels them 3 times a semester, beginning, middle, and end. And we talk about everything from, hey, how's your academic performance? How you're doing in ROTC? We teach things like time management and prioritization. And really, as I go back to my days in ROTC, that's the foundation that has made me successful, because there's nobody, God love our brothers and sisters from West Point, but there's nobody knocking on our door at 6:30 saying, where you at? How come you didn't go eat breakfast right now? The cadets have a schedule, and they have to develop those skills and that discipline to be there. Obviously, we're going to reach out and call and check on them, but it's a much different environment. So I say it's allowing students and future officers to grow and to develop in a semi-controlled environment where they can screw up. But we're learning how to balance a lot of different competing requirements.
Gotcha. I'm glad that you brought up your time in ROTC
Mhm.
because for everybody out there, Lieutenant Colonel Coyne is about to head off into retirement after a long career of serving this country in the U.S. Army, and you have a background as military police.
Correct.
Awesome. But heading into retirement and your time in the Army, can you talk a little about from whenever you were an ROTC cadet versus ROTC cadets of today,
Mhm.
and what are some of the changes that you've seen?
I mean, that's a loaded question of itself, but what I'd say that the fundamentals haven't changed. We're developing leaders of characters to lead soldiers in the United States Army. The core principles of, hey, we need to be physically fit, we need to be disciplined, good members of the team, all that's the same. I think the biggest challenge and change right now is the evolution of technology and how society's going and access to information. So I think that's probably the biggest change and challenge. The fundamentals, the principles are all the same, but how we use technology, how available it is, the processes have obviously gone along with that. There's tremendous talent-based branching processes now, which are way different than an Excel document I submitted as a cadet to figure out what I was going to do. So there's a lot of greatness in it, but they need to be prepared to lead in that type of environment.
Great point, and I think you're right on as far as the challenge of them having to make decisions on the fly with more information that's never been available before in the past. But it speaks to the caliber of
Yeah.
the young men and women that are coming out of programs like this,
Yeah.
and your impact here. I'll say from all of us here at the Office of Veteran Military Affairs, we wish you the absolute best in retirement and hope you get to enjoy it. It's well deserved. And as we close out this episode, can you talk a little bit about if people are interested, where they can go for more
Yeah.
information? And the floor is yours to anything else you want to say.
So first, I appreciate, Charlie, the support from you and the OVMA throughout my time here has been tremendous. The support from the university is amazing, but we have outstanding cadets and really like resources and obviously that support makes things easier. But without good cadets, then we're not going to have a good program or a good success rate. But where can you go and what can you do? You go to the website, Syracuse University, Army RTC, send an email, armyrtc@syr.edu. And I really, really highly encourage anybody who's considering in any way, shape, or form, reach out, send an email, make a phone call, come visit campus, right? We offer the opportunity for prospective cadets to come spend a day and shadow a cadet. I'm the old guy in the room. I acknowledge that. The cadets are living the ROTC experience. So we bring prospective cadets in and we link them in with cadets and students. Go to classes, go eat at the chow hall, visit the dorms, and really see what the experience is about and hear it firsthand from somebody who's living it. So if you're interested or it's even just a thought, have the conversation and reach out. Come visit. We're happy to talk and see what the opportunities might look like.
This is a great opportunity. Lieutenant Colonel Coyne, appreciate your time here being with us. And for everybody else, thank you for viewing.